Okay, so I'm Gareth from smashmouthmetal.co.uk, here with the wonderful boys from Our World Below with an exclusive interview. You say hello to the camera.
Hello.
Hello. All your adoring fans.
Hello.
Hi, Mum. Okay, so let's go straight to it then, boys. Our World Below.
Yeah.
5-piece metal band from Shropshire and Wales, I believe.
Well.
So, could you go into a little bit about the name of the band? What's behind it for me?
It was really two different ideas. First one being it had to be something that was reasonably original and we could use to differentiate ourselves from just random death metal names and stuff that sound all similar. And a bit of a weird concept that I had, being at home at a point where there was loads of stuff going on in the news about stuff in politics that was wrong and people dying around the world and all sorts of stuff and injustices all over the world. And I noticed we watched a Horizon program or something like that, and we'll be affected by it for an evening, and then the next day we'll go out and go to work normal. We won't think about the people that we've seen on the programs dying and stuff. And I wondered if we could see all the things that were happening in the world all at the same time. If we could see everything in the world, not as oceans and land and stuff, but we could see it all as all the injustices happening at once. Would we even recognise that the place we were seeing was where we'd live? It was a ridiculous random idea that I had,
Is it
but it gave me 3 words, so I kind of used it. But yeah, I kind of thought if you could go up above the world, look down, would you be able to see the world and recognise it as your own place that you lived, your own world, your home? And I thought if you were there, you'd kind of ask that question, is it our world below? Is that the place that we live? Would you even recognise it? That's it pretty much. It's a bit random.
Okay, so with the ideals behind the name of the band, moving into your album, Democracy and the Illusion of Choice.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that for me?
Well, the whole point of the band is that we don't all sit around for days and days and days upon days all the time. We don't spend that much time with each other. So the idea of getting the album and the stuff named and done was more a case of trying not to take loads of time over it, just deciding on something, getting it done, getting it sent off, getting it ready. I mean, the cases with the artwork and everything was all finished before the recording was ever finished, miles ahead. It was just a case of getting it done as quick as possible, because we're a band who's got commitments and stuff in life and not always together. So the name and the names of a lot of the songs just came from stuff that I was sat down thinking about. So the views that are portrayed in the name of the album aren't necessarily the views of everybody sat here. I don't know who we'd vote for or whatever his political idea is or anything like that, but it's just, that was what I was thinking at the time, and the whole idea of the name of it really is just the whole way that the system works in this country. I think it's kind of flawed, and it's just a representation of the idea that we don't actually have a say in anything that goes on. We don't have a choice in anything that goes on in the world or our country.
So would you say you're quite political in your lyrics and stuff like
No.
that? Because there's no lyric sleeve inside the album.
No.
Jack's political.
Because you've got songs like The Orchid is Dead, Silent Chair Dance, 1, 5, they're quite, apart from 1 and 5, which number 1 is the second track on the album. Do you know what I mean?
It all makes sense.
Is there some sort of warped reality thing going on in Jack's mind when you come up with this? Or?
I don't know, just it's funny. I like it. So many people are just why have you put 1 as the second track? And you're like, why not?
Well, we originally called that song number 1 because it was number 1 on our list.
It was the first song you sent us over. I think that
we had a bit of it. Writing songs that's funny was hilarious. Me and my friend years ago wrote a proper death metal song, and we were trying to think of a name for it, and we'd had the keyboard out and we tried to figure out what note my Hoover hummed at when you were using it, and it was C, so the song was called My Hoover Hums in C, and it was just a death metal band fucking song. Death metal band song. That bit out. But when we were in Adrenaline, we wrote a song and we were writing it on the board, and we'd written in part 18 on it, and then came to the end of the song and we thought, we'll finish it there. So there was nothing, there was no part number 18. We were didn't know what to call the song. We ended up calling it "There Is No 18" because
Yeah.
it was the only thing that distinguished that song. And people would always be like, "Oh, there is no 18, man. That's like really like what's the idea?" And he'd be like,
Mystery of the
he'd
band.
be like, "Well, there wasn't an 18th part, so you know, try not to be." I think it's hilarious that you can say something just like kind of slight and ridiculous, but people can read crazy stuff into it.
That's it. Then you get your manic fans, don't you, who try to read between the lines on everything when actually there is nothing there. So it's kind of an in-house joke with you guys, then, I suppose.
As far as the lyrics go, I don't think any of the lads actually know what the lyrics are.
I can sing along to some of it. You can sing along to some of it, like, but
Changes
you
it.
need to put a
We're all
lyric
mouthing
in.
different words.
You do need to put a lyric.
I've read his lyric book though. Yeah.
You don't.
I don't know.
No?
No.
It doesn't really make sense, but it makes sense to me.
Whatever you think it is probably best.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so what direction do you see yourselves going in? Because you've all come from different bands over the years, and you've kind of like met up and sessioned together and played together, and you know, I think there was a couple of performances at Download between you as well, and then you've come together, and you know, and I quote from your page, you know, and the key ideals of the band to fit around life, a band to be run on a very low cost, a band that was fun, that didn't fall into the usual traps of being dictated to and controlled by external factors, you know.
Yeah.
So where do you see yourselves going? You know, you've got no money, you don't have management, but you're doing pretty well. You know, do you know what I mean?
Thank you.
That's cool.
I wouldn't say we don't have management, kind of Jack does all the management. He's pretty good at that,
Well,
to be fair. All the organising gigs and everything else that comes with it, all the stuff.
All the talk about it, apart from making music, which we get to do.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because you all have everyday lives, don't you? You've all got jobs, kids, families and stuff, so
Yeah, that's right.
you know, you just come together then really for when you can.
the thing is, like, you know, me, Dave, and Spike have all been in bands for years, and like, you just learn things about it, and you just know what to do in certain situations. And I would never stand there and be like, "Oh, I'm amazing. I know everything, and I can make like." I don't think I could, you know, do anything amazing with it. Whatever happens. Like, but the stuff that we've picked up along the years, when we just do what we think and what we know, this is what we do, and it just kind of happens, you know. So
Do what's right for us.
yeah, it's
That's
like
right. Not to please anybody else.
yeah. The only reason that I ever seem to be any kind of like a focal point in, you know, talking loads or whatever is just because I was the one really who knew everyone and tied everyone together. They were my original ideas, and I didn't use my ideas because I thought they were the best songs or the best riffs or the best band. It was like, I've got these songs, I've recorded them, I can send them around, we can work on it, just get it going, like get it. The most annoying thing ever about being in a band is when you're doing nothing. That's just like, if you're doing nothing, there's no point. What are we doing? Nothing. Well, what's the point? It can die so quick, it can die so easily. So having someone who's always fiddling and doing it, you know, it kind of holds it together really, I guess.
Okay, so just moving back a little bit into what you were just saying, you know, you made up these demos, and like I've talked to you about it before, you know, you released an instrumental album, Feels Like Home, back in 2012. You know, can you tell me a little bit about it?
I've been in bands for years, been playing drums, and I'd never got to be someone who like wrote a song in it as a drummer. I'd be putting my drums to songs and riffs that people had written, and I might have a say over some arrangements or, you know, tempos here and there and putting fills in and stuff, but you never get that creative control of being like, this is what music sounds like to me, this is what I think music should sound like. So after I'd left the band with these guys, Adrenaline, and I wasn't drumming, I was just sat at home with a guitar, and I bought a little recording thing to go into my computer, like a little interface and a cheap program. For the first time just started going, there's a riff, and recording it over it. So I had like the ability to write songs for the first time like ever in my life really. I had little like 4 tracks and stuff, but never like actually sit down and arrange something. So just being not able to write songs for a long time, I just had loads of kind of ideas all the time, wanted to get them down, you know. I had those that first like EP that I put out, the instrumental stuff, I probably had written, I don't know, 15 or 20 songs then. That's just some of the ones that had gone up. I'd sent these guys loads of ideas and stuff before we'd ever even talked about being in a band, you know. I was showing them my ideas and stuff just because I was at home jamming them, just getting them out my head. Wanted to, but be able to go to people, especially people who I've been in a band with. That's what music sounded like to me, like because it's always someone else's music.
Okay, cool, man. So, Dave, you're obviously the lyricist as the vocalist. Is there, obviously there's no lyrics sheet in the album, so I don't know what you're saying. But do you have any sort of influences? Anything that you like, sort of, as your core for what you write, for what Jack and the rest of the guys sort of put down in instrumental?
Basically, whatever's on my mind, which is a lot of random stuff. I do try to put the songs together when writing lyrics to try and make some sort of story. It's very dark stories, I would say, whereas Jack's more political, I'm more a bit of a freak.
It's because you're Welsh.
Yeah, it must be. It must be.
We identify on that level.
It's like you sat with him and he's writing something and he's just talking to him like, yeah. Like, oh, what did you write for that bit? And you're like, murder, blah blah. And he's like, well, what was that? That was like
So would you say it comes quite easily?
Yeah.
You don't have. I don't really picture you as one of those guys sat up at 3 o'clock in the morning with the lamp on, the fags and the ashtray burning, or the e-cigarette, trying to write these lyrics out. It's.
Well, the album, when Jack sent me most of the tracks, I wrote when I was on holiday, drinking beer.
And you left your lyric book there? You left your lyric book there?
I left my lyric book there, in the States.
Yeah, that's good.
And then I had to have it shipped back from the States to me.
You had all these great ideas, but
because I'd forgotten all the ideas I'd wrote down for the album. But there we go.
He rang me up, he was like, it's a little problem, all the lyrics for the album are in America and I don't know.
Yeah, but that's not as funny as
Florida.
the album being recorded and then me phoning you up going, I've lost the album.
I was at my sister's, like a family get together thing, like kids around everywhere, and he phoned me up and you're like, alright Dave, he's like, yeah, little problem. This is like the day after we'd just done was it 3 days of recording?
Yeah, 3 days.
Yeah. And he went, and he was like, that was the last bit of it, it was finished, he was like, yeah, it was done, ahead of releasing it. And he just said on the phone, he was like, little problem, I've lost the entire album, I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
And for hours.
Found it though.
For hours I was ringing him like
for about an hour.
Can't do all that.
It was saved into a lyrics folder.
He's just
Schoolboy era.
for computers.
Okay. So if we could, I just really want to, I'm quite looking forward to the 13th of December. The Metal Crusade you guys are playing.
we are too.
You played it before as well, so I suppose you're veterans of the Crusade.
Twice.
You played it twice, so this is your third time with it.
We've played all three, yeah.
So could you just tell us a little bit about it for anyone who hasn't heard about it? Because I'd actually never heard of the Metal Crusade until I moved to Wolverhampton.
Well, yeah, when we put this band together, I hit a lot of old contacts, people that I'd known through bands and gigs and venues and whatever else through the years, and then also I've found a few people who I'd never met before. I found Hills Ovation, and she was proper helpful, like with us from the off. Even before we put stuff together, she was like listening to ideas, and I was talking to her about like our ethos of doing it. It was very similar to how she did her promotion. Very similar ideas and ideals and ways of being. And I think it was our third gig was the first Crusade, and she'd offered us that before I think we'd ever played a gig.
Ever heard anything?
Just on the from her, she would say on the strength of what she'd heard from us before, and and the chats that we'd had. And she put us on the first one. I think that was our third ever gig. As this band, it was our third ever gig. And that was with, who played the first one? I can't remember. Oh, Breed 77 headlined the first one.
Yeah.
And then she invited us to play the second one, which Silosis headlined. We played with them. And I think Seven Deadly headlining this one. Yeah. And the idea has been she likes to get a good showcase of local talent. I won't say young, because of like local talent, and try and draw people to come in and recognise that there's good talented bands around. And a bit of a draw for that is like getting a semi well-known band from around the UK scene who tour a lot and support big bands to come and draw a few people in, not to like just so they'll come for them, but come for them and see that these bands is where they're good and that there's a good standard here as well.
Well, that's how I kind of came across you guys. I went to see a Slipknot tribute band and what? 5 weeks later, I'm sat here with yourselves. You know, I've got your album. You know, one is my ringtone. Do you know what I mean?
Nice one.
Yeah, but,
Nice one.
you know,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks,
But you know, that's kind of the idea behind the website as well. You know, there's lots of websites out there that do music, but nothing for local stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, yeah.
There's a
to
few
get
ways,
yourselves
so
on there.
fair play to you
I'm
doing that one.
You know, it pleases me very much that I've managed to get an interview with yourselves. But if you want to say hello to Hills, because I'll tag her on Facebook and say that you're on there.
Hi Hills.
Hi, Hills.
So yeah, just to wrap up then, really. You know, you've all got a lot of experience amongst yourselves. Is there any tips that you could give to anybody who might watch this, who were in a band and trying to do something with it?
I'd
Keep
say
your feet on the ground, innit?
I don't know. I'd say I guess anyone who's wanting to like be in a successful band, which you know we're not by any means. If someone wanted to do that, I guess they would be like a young person, and I'd say you know a lot of the lads who I started bands with when we were younger did it for a couple of years, like it was everything, and then went off and did other things and had a different life. So I'd say you know if it's for you and you're up for giving it everything, then you know fair play. But I think if you do, you have to give up a lot of things to really go for it. You know, like we've got mates who we know who've been in real big bands touring around the world and still there, sleeping in cars and sleeping on mates' living rooms and not really got much money. And that's a lifestyle choice to do that. If you want to be in a successful band, don't do anything the way we do it. Because
We're doing it for
Good DIY
fun.
budget.
This is our outlet.
Yeah.
And we come home from work and
So
it's
right,
we're going to practice. We're going to
Make some noise.
We get offered a gig that's like you know all right, and we're like, that'd be quite cool, and be like, so and so's got to go to like his niece's
what I mean,
birthday
to a
party.
play.
We'll do it then. You know, used to be in bands when we were younger. And it was a case of if you got offered a gig, you just said yes, wherever it was, whenever it was, just to play all the time when we were younger. But I guess these days as well, it's fortunate with the internet and stuff that we can be active without having to be gigging every week. So we can endure longer breaks between gigs. But for the young people wanting to start out and really wanting to give it their all, they have to really go for it, man.
As soon as you stop enjoying it, sit back and reevaluate the situation.
Move on.
Just have fun,
Because
really.
have fun,
enjoy
yeah.
it.
That's what it's all about.
I'm sure we'd agree all the people that we know who have been successful in bands, or like who we'd say now are like doing really well in bands, they're the people who did live out of their car for a couple of years. You know, relationships went sour and all. You know, it's like it was worth it for them. If it's not worth it for you, like for us, you know, he's not going to sacrifice his marriage for the band. Like if it's that kind of, like you know, you'll do what you got to do for your life, not for the band. And if you really want to make it, I guess you have to kind of not do that, because there's not much money to find. You know, it's hard to make money in.
And it's
in
getting
music
worse
these days.
as well.
Yeah.
All those illegal downloads, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
Part of
you know,
it.
They can have it. You know, we're just glad people get our music. You know.
so your album's on sale on Amazon,
Or
and can you buy hard copies from anywhere? Because I don't actually know.
it's online from like iTunes, Deezer, Amazon, Spotify, and all manner of other ones that I don't know the names of.
Hard copies you just get from us at the gigs, or just email us and we'll get one out to you.
Speak to us, message us.
To be fair, it's like, you know, if a couple of people buy them at gigs and whatever else, and people listen to it online, that's cool. Like,
As long
you
as
know,
people are listening to it, you know.
not gonna try and outlay loads of effort and money getting it, you know, to a wider audience. If people like it when they hear it and at gigs and want to buy it, then you know,
There's
it
all
sound
for us,
like
isn't it?
if it pays for a couple of beers that night, or it pays for a couple
That
of
on
bits
the
of
way
CDs
out.
that we're making, then fair play, like you know.
Yeah, brilliant.
So,
So thank you again for sitting down with us, and say goodbye.
ta-da.
Right.
Ta-da.